If nothing else, this is a perfect example of how little men have to do to get credit for being a good dad. Or a stepdad. They were together for like 5 years. He was having an affair for 3 of them. But he's the world's greatest dad. I mean, stepdad. Dad. He even takes him to Disney. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but men who have biological children in general tend to suck at being parents because they want to be a dad, but they don't want to parent, right? Like, even when they're related to these children, half their DNA is making up these children. They don't want to be dads. So I'm sorry, but a guy can't just come in, when the kids are like well into school. Right? And then guess what? I guess I'm a dad now. Let me just show you some of the quotes. And before I go anywhere else, I know some really awesome dads. And that's one reason why I'm so hard on dad. Because I know you forkers are capable. The ones who aren't doing it, that is a choice. That's a choice. A choice to not get therapy for how much you hate your own dad for not parenting you. A choice to not deal with your addiction. Whatever, I don't even believe in a lot of the men who say they have addiction as a way to get sympathy for us to be like, oh, it's just an addiction. So all the lying, betraying, and crazy behavior, it's because they're addicts. Guess what? Women are addicts too. And we don't cause as much harm in general as men. In terms of violence, financial abuse, emotional abuse, literally taking someone hostage. Or how about convincing someone to move to another country? As an immigrant who is living in another country, let me tell you something. Moving to another country for a man, which I've never done, moving to another country for myself has been a very long, expensive process that is full of stress. And I have it easy compared to most immigrants. Whatever, you get a whole house. But I just, none of this is about this dude, okay? It's not about him or Lily. Because I got lots of people in my comments being like, well, she's not perfect either. Yeah, I know. Boy, have I been hearing about that. I didn't know who she was until their divorce or till the whole Finding Monterey or whatever. And then I was like, who is this person? The reason why I talk about this is because this is an example of what is normal. It is normal for dads to suck. It's normal. It's normal. It's normal for men to cheat and be super selfish in their relationships and have affairs and second and third families. It is normal for them to financially abuse women, whether they have all the money, right? And then they just, convince her to be a trad wife or, just control all the money, or they're a homosexual. As a survivor of one of those, that's a whole new kind of mind fork where you make the money, but somehow you don't have any money. There are just endless examples of men, these Peter Pan men, these self-absorbed lone wolves, or, like this guy. I've done breakdowns on him, but boy, God, this guy, he's already moved on super fast. Also had addiction problems. I'm not saying that their addictions aren't real. I'm just saying they hide behind it because then they get to be a victim of an addiction, get sympathy, and bypass all the harm they caused phase. This is Ryan Locke, by the way. He's already in love with a whole nother woman with kids, and all he's doing is posting about their love story. And meanwhile, his ex is like having... whatever. Let me know if you want that video. I just want to show you some of the quotes from this guy, right? Who was just like, I love being a dad. I love being a dad. Yeah, clearly. The first thing a great dad would do is have an affair. Ask for an open marriage. And then break all the rules of that. And I don't even have a problem with open marriages, okay? As long as both people want it. But a lot of women will agree to it because of their own conditioning and their own fear of losing this relationship and their own internalized, their own pick-me-ism within them and their codependency and whatever other issues, right? Yeah, she agreed to this. Doesn't sound like she wanted it, but like so many women who've been taught to center men and also just ignore all their stuff and have their own sicknesses, she seems like pretty messed up. To me, honestly. She's done a lot of problematic stuff. I've only scratched, hit the tip of the iceberg. She's got 20 years in the public eye. And in my comment section of last video, I've heard of some terrible things. I also learned that she'd been stalked, like in a crazy way, and that all of her peers, pretty much, who are in the public as long as she is, are all dead, right? So there's like, this is a very nuanced conversation. The reason why I'm talking about this is the way that we talk about celebrities is very indicative of the way we talk about normal people. And the way the media talks about celebrities is the way that either they want us to think about normal people, or it's also a reflection of how we think. Look at this. Now remember, he's the perpetual underdog. He was the black sheep, which White Woman Whisperer has already made videos, lots of content on that phrase, which is problematic. She can explain it better than I can. But it is this victim mindset. This, helpless little boy, and then do terrible things, and then like, helpless little boy, then I have all the power, helpless little boy, it's just back and forth. And this like, woe is me. You know, they're never happy, right? Like Ben Affleck had like everything he could possibly want and blew up his marriage. But Jennifer Garner, to me, seems just as sick on some level with her enabling. Because what do you mean you are helping this man with his marriage? What do you're still doing so much, but he's also the father of her kids. So I can understand why she's invested in him doing okay. Like, this is complicated stuff. Because at the end of the day, when men aren't doing okay, all the women and children in their lives suffer. Usually more than the actual man. The wife of these men is humiliated way more than the men are themselves. Always. She will always be blamed for what he does to her, or what he does to himself, or what he does to someone else. Because why couldn't she hold him down? Why did she make him stray? Now, she'll probably be fine, even though it seems like she also has her own, she has her own addiction. And like so many of us, she's already been to treatment again to avoid a relapsing, a lot of issues with food. Like, anyway, just because I'm talking about them and calling out him doesn't mean I'm like, I don't know her. I'm not a fan of her, and I don't condone anything that she does. But why I'm talking about this is that some people will only see themselves in someone else's story. When I make videos about celebrities, you wouldn't believe how many people threaten me and are like so angry. You would think I was talking about their mom or their sister or them, because they're like, I'm like, whoa. And they're like, yeah, parasocial. Me, I don't care. You know, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us. Right? She has said that New York is where she found her most support for her recovery. But as far as I know, she's back in London. So anyway, I hope she's doing okay. And I hope David gets help for his very selfish, self-destruct, self-hating, whatever's behind this. And also his male entitlement and selfishness that patriarchy taught him. But in terms of his politics, he is a self-confessed socialist. He's supported the writer's strike. You know, from what I've seen about his politics, I'm on board with it. But I had someone coming into my comments saying that I'm a Zionist for attacking this guy. Now, we're free Palestine over here, okay? But this is why people get so annoyed with white people who are on the left. Because you think everything is about socialism and won't even question your participation. If it's a white man in terms of misogyny and whiteness, white women in terms of anti-blackness and white supremacy and like whatever else, right? I don't dislike this guy, but I really hate his behavior. And I know so many women, myself included, but I mean, my dad more or less did some level of this to my mom. I've had boyfriends do worse level of this to me. And I've known so many women, and currently know women, who are dealing with what men do when they won't get help for their real problem. And they keep turning to escapism and being driven by their ego and won't unpack all their entitlement and under patriarchy and white supremacy culture and keep causing harm. So I may not even be talking about him. Maybe I'm talking about you. Like, maybe I'm talking about your husband. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I'm talking about what this is so common. Men lying. They lie all the time. They lie all the time to avoid accountability. And the women who date men who lie don't know what's up and down anymore. Does it mean women don't lie too? Of course we do. But But the way this man has been like, he keeps being called a dad. Not a dad. You entered the picture far too late to be the dad. He talks about the adjustment he's made in his life because he now has kids. He goes a bit gooey whenever he mentions them. All right, let's just see some more quotes, all right, about how great it is to be a dad. It was lucky for me because I am now in a relationship with 3 women, very strong-minded women, he jokes, underlining each word. It's a responsibility he takes seriously. Relishes even. He loves being a dad, clearly. Dads have sex dens with Dwayne Reed bags full of butt plugs and all kinds of stuff for the many affairs they're having. Great dads do that for sure. And again, I am not like kink shaming. I'm not even shaming people who are in open relationships. I know people that absolutely works for. But both of the people in those relationships agree to it and want it. Not all this. It's the line, y'all. It is the line. If you don't know what it's like to be in a relationship with a man who is like literally a different person than you thought he was and lies and lies and lies and gaslights where you can no longer trust yourself, please stay out of this conversation, because the pain of that and not being able to trust again anyone, but especially yourself, that is why so many people get upset by these stories like this, because it reminds us of our own pain and being in that exact situation. But being a dad, not a stepdad, a dad has brought a whole new depth to my life that I had never before. Maybe it made me an entirely new man, and that's wonderful. And that's why so many men want to be dads. They love the social capital. They love that sense of purpose. They love the legacy. They love all the attention they get for being a girl dad or whatever. But do they actually show up and parent? Maybe he did. But was he thinking of those girls when he did all this? Clearly not. And that is why I've made videos of this for a couple years now. When a man has an affair, like just leave her. But when a man or a woman, but these men do this so much, is they have an affair, leave the family for a whole, like just replace the wife with a new one. And they think they're only screwing over that woman. Or a man will get a woman pregnant and then like what you do to the mother of your children is what you're doing to those children. And those kids have every right to be pissed at you, as pissed as the woman that you did that to, because you did it to the whole family. So these kids that he cared so much about, that made him an entirely new man, well, apparently not enough. And this is what I mean when I say men use women to make them better men. They use women as wives. They use children to make them better men. But at the end of the day, it doesn't often make them better. It makes them worse. Because all of a sudden they feel trapped. And like I said in my video yesterday, if you want to watch that one, he had this big fear of being imprisoned. He wasn't even the dad of these kids. But how much you want to bet that he just the pressure of fatherhood, feeling imprisoned, right? Even though doesn't take much for men to feel imprisoned by responsibilities that they themselves signed up for. I'm just going to show you several examples. Go back to this article. Then he talked about he got all this credit for taking the kids to Taylor Swift. He scored tickets to Taylor Swift concert, which probably makes him just about the best stepdad there is. Doesn't take much, does it? Best stepdad ever for getting tickets to a concert. I'm sorry, when you have that much money, that is not impressive. Like, if he didn't have any money or any connections and it was a sold out concert and blah, 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 maybe I'd be like, yeah, that's a lot of effort. How is this the best do you see what I'm saying? How did he manage it? It was very difficult, he grins. So does this mean we can safely say David Harbour is a Swiftie? Yeah, he growls before bursting out in laughter. And a big booming laugh. Okay. I don't know if he's mocking. I don't know, whatever. Who cares? By the way, I just want to show you one of the many messages I got yesterday. This lady here accused me of being paid. I wish. I wish someone was paying me to give these very honest opinions. But yeah, I should look forward to getting sued by David's team. Do you see what I mean? Like, me and my mutuals get crazy unhinged stuff like this all the time. But it's just so funny. There's so many articles that are like, well, no one really knows who she sounds really sick. Okay? Anything that comes out about her would not surprise me. And on this page, we absolutely talk about dealing with codependency, enabling of men, being a pick-me, which also means harming other women and children because you center men. We talk about all that stuff. And even in these videos, I'm talking about how, for yesterday's video, about women accepting less. Why do you think I come after Dax and Kristen so much? That woman normalizes a toxic marriage on a regular basis because of her own internalized patriarchy. But she does a lot of harm in doing that. But I'm still never gonna, be as pissed at her as Dax, who clearly hates her. But I also hold her accountable a lot because women who enable men, women who vouch for men, women who marry men and stand by men who are causing so much harm to other people, even these women's own children, those women are dangerous. And I've never not said that. As somebody who was harmed by men because of the women who I trusted to protect me, I know, and anybody who has been in that situation knows how much that hurts. And the women who are supposed to protect you don't, because they are choosing men and avoiding their own shame and responsibility in order to do that. But yeah, he's taking his daughter, his two daughters. See, look at this. Look at what they say. Look at this. He looked like any other father treating his two daughters. Okay, they use the word father and daughters. Okay. Out in the, to a day out at Epic Universe Park in Orlando, Florida. Wow, he's a Disney dad. If you don't think this was intentional, photo op, because in an interview before, they said, is he going to still see them? She was like, that's up to him. And that was a recent interview. So I don't know. Maybe he knew, again, unlike people like me, celebrities, like bigger celebrities, usually have like a team, like PR people. And it wouldn't surprise me if just like Taylor Swift and her perfect timing of, what was that? Was she at dinner with some of her black friends that I've never heard of? You know what I mean? Like after, the whole SS necklace and that super racist album. And then all of a sudden, oh, look. So you don't think that men would do this? Now all of a sudden he's a girl dad taking them to Disney. When in a not too long ago interview for Vogue, I believe, people were like, what's going to happen with him? She's like, I don't know. You have to ask him. The timing, given that he has his final season of his biggest career thing he ever has had is he's about to go on a press tour. This seems like a really great way to manage your image, right? Like, ha, Disney. And maybe she is cashing in on this. But honestly, I don't care. Because she was worth way more money than this man. Moved across the ocean, shared a home with him and all that stuff. And then, whatever. Her image and her finances probably took a big hit. Because when you date men and marry men who are jealous of you and who literally write notes hoping you have a bad first night. And then, like I said in the video yesterday, if you haven't seen it, who are so seething with anger when you get an award for your theater stuff, like a prestigious award equivalent to the Tonys. And all he has to say is like, I've been doing this longer and I haven't gotten mine yet. And the other thing is that so many women, and these women have written to me. I have talked about several celebrities, and the women who have been with those celebrities have written to me and been like, thank you for talking about some of the stuff they've done, because the women can't talk. They know they will get dragged. They know they will be attacked, especially by all the women who love this man. I tell you, any woman who has tried to go after any of the creators on TikTok, these men with massive platforms, if you ever try to call them out or correct them, they send their female stans after you. And the pick-me's will be like, ah, right? So the women the mothers can't talk crap about these men because this is the father of their children. A lot of times their hands are tied. But this man is not the father of her children. He's just some stepdad. And honestly, I have a stepdad, but I don't really think of him as a stepdad because he had no part in parenting me whatsoever. He's my mom's husband. He's in her life. I care about him because he's he's a part of the family, but it ain't my stepdad. Like, there's no dad in that. And by the way, this man moved on right away. Right after the ending of his relationship, he was spotted with a model. He seems to be really upset about the breakup. I mean, at least don't go out in public, bro. He even gets messages about being a DILF. You're not a dad. But he's a DILF now. Okay. Here's the quote I said yesterday about his big fear of imprisonment. Pause if you want to read. Also, just a reminder so I don't forget this. Sorry, you just got to go with my ADHD brain. He said that, he was living in London, working on Black Widow. He got on the apps, going on dates and stuff, and he started texting with her. She was in Italy at the time, but they went out to the Wolsey or whatever. So she goes, she probably went home too for other reasons. But when I tell you, do not go meet men, make them come to you. There's a really extreme dumb example of that. I'm not even driving, I'm not putting wear and tear on my car and spending gas money. You're coming to my neighborhood, but I may not tell you where I live depending. But don't do this. She may have already had other reasons to be there, but I just wanted to point this out. Women do too much. And then they settle for an Elvis wedding and In-N-Out burger. Speaking of their first date, it reminded me of Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic, when she's going to meet him under the clock. Girl, what? And by the way, it was my first date ever. This woman was in her mid-30s. I had never been on a date. Do you see how it doesn't surprise me she got wrapped up with this man being like, wow, it's Leo. The clock with the Wolsey. He would totally give me that door if we were ever put in that. No, he'd throw some butt plugs at ya and go bang some other women. Anyway, I was so anxious. And he was like, have you been here before? And I said, yeah, I love this place. My kids love the pancakes here. And he was like, oh, you have kids? But Harbour did in fact know that she had children. He just didn't want me to think he'd been Googling me, so he lied. I was like, fuck you. Hey, cool. He lied on the first date. I'm telling you, right out of the gate, he's lying. What? Of course you Googled her. She's a massive star. Had been watching his show. Some other red flag is, he's I have someone I can tell everything to. Maybe pay for a therapist, bro. Maybe get some friends. Because he also said that most of his life he's been alone. But, he's a happily married man. Not for long. I am so grateful I'm not alone anymore. And that I have someone that I can tell everything to and who can tell me everything he says. This is why so many men date, period. They have guy friends, but they don't talk to those guy friends. And I'm the person who wrote that viral article for Harper's Bazaar. Men have no friends and women bear the burden, okay? This is my wheelhouse. Men do not have friends. And even if they do have friends, they don't tell those men anything. And so they need women to be their only friend, a little clown who'll entertain them, a schmegs doll, a career advisor, secretary, a schmegs doll, and domestic laborer. And if you're rich and famous, also level you up to a whole new level of stardom. We can share this experience of walking through life together. I'm always so overcome with gratitude for that because I've been alone most of my life. When I tell you, ask men why they like you. Now, of course, they're always adapting and learning ways to manipulate and lie, right? But whenever they describe you as kind and how you understand them. You're the first person who understood them. Bro, is that your only goal, is to be understood, not to understand? Because that's usually the case. The real thing is that most of these men have been alone their whole life. They've never had real intimacy except for maybe another woman they've dated. And this is usually cishet men, but not always. Because this is also down low men. This is also in this article, he was talking about, taking a road trip with the kid, from Atlanta to New York. The kids complaining about how there was no leg room. Like dads deal with. Bro, did you take one road trip with these girls and now you get the credit of being a dad that's relatable? No. He also went to a gay pride event, and good for you. Great. Okay. Love supporting that. But just heavily embarrassed his stepdaughter with some horrible dancing. Another relatable dad thing. He does dad jokes too. This dad. Don't let the media sell you these images of men who are just showed up or who just take photo ops because they get so much credit. And also, so many women want to fork men who seem like good dads. Do you know how sexy this is? They know that, y'all. Why do you think so many men talk about how much they love their kids? You would hope it's because they love their kids. But if you've ever been on a dating app, as long as I was, you're like, damn, seems like they're using their kids to get laid. Because a lot of women trust men with children way more than a man, especially if they're over, 35. They're going to trust a man with children more because they know at least he committed at some point, even though he could be the worst dad ever. He also has to thank his wife for getting all this social credit for caring about other things. Like this organization, War Child. Again, this is all great stuff. Love it when celebrities do this, but would he have done that if she hadn't? I don't know. This is another interview. I married a beautiful, incredible woman who I love. I have never met someone who's so deeply kind as her. I don't want to be known as kind. I want to be known as a raging bitch. I have never felt so taken care of and cared for by another human being. If you hear a man say that about you, you're in danger. As Whoopi Goldberg's character would say in Ghost, you're in danger, girl. If this is what a man is saying about you, I have never felt so taken care of. Because I'm a big baby who needs taken care of. Or a provider and protector, my butt. She really is just a deeply kind individual, and I love that about her. I don't want to be known as kind. I mean, I to some people. But I don't want to be known for that, especially not by a partner. Because if they don't know what a big old bitch you can be, and that you are free to leave at any moment, and are totally happy not having them in your life, like, they're going to have a whole other apartment with a Dwayne Reed bag of toys. Like, look at this. He spends time with wife Lily. He took her to an NBA game. Look, he's a great dad. Look at all these places he takes the kids. What a great dad. Look at this. David Harbour is loving life as a stepdad. Who wrote this? Being thrust into his family role not only changed his views on fatherhood. I would love to know what your views were before. What do you think about your dad? Because it always is very telling. But made him feel every cliche from every sitcom you've ever heard. The proud stepdad added. What do you mean cliche? Because most sitcoms are the men being awful. Like, I don't know if that's a flex. If you feel everything that most of the sitcom dads feel, which is just totally indifferent to their children and hate their wives, then this makes sense. It's a cliche that we make fun of constantly on television and books. And I'd always watched it with a grain of salt and gone, whatever, it's not the real deal. And now I am in it. That sort of hits it on the head. What are you talking about? Seriously, what sitcoms are you talking about? There's very few I can think of where the dad likes being a dad and is a good dad. Hello, Everyone Loves Raymond, Homer Simpson, Modern Family, Phil. Everyone loves Phil, but Phil's an awful father and awful husband. The epitome of weaponized incompetence and playing like the goofy fun dude who's dumb and doesn't have to do much. I mean, maybe from the 80s. Like, what are you talking about? Shut up. Look at this. I'm in a relationship with 3 different women, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I've already said this. Have I already covered this? I think he said some other version of this before. Making that kind of commitment, which I haven't had for most of my life, was a huge thing for me. What kind of commitment? Being a husband? I'm pretty sure, I don't think you were a husband. Being a dad? Because I don't think you're one of those either. And it just makes you feel a little bit more like a man, to be honest. I just feel a little bit more like an adult. A little bit? Bro, you should feel way more like an adult. But apparently you are just feeling a little bit more like an adult. Because a man with the attitude of Peter Pan, who wants his cake and eat it too, is like, I want all the social credit for being a dad. But I'm just going to literally go out and do whatever I want and still. And then I'll go to Disney and get a photo op and I'm Really committed to the kids. I will say this, it's as many problems as Lily has. In one of her interviews for Vogue, that she's really not into dating right now. Honey, I hope you stop. I hope you don't date for a long time. If you find yourself coming out of a relationship like this, you have a lot of work to do. I say this as someone almost died and didn't realize, holy crap, dating men is deadly. And if I don't deal with my codependency and my enabling of men and me settling for less and me believing men when they're lying me, even though all the evidence is there that they're lying, if I don't deal with my inclination to accept like mediocre or just terrible men as like good enough, I could die. Humiliated is just like the best situation, but die. And she says that I need to unpack something, break some pattern, and probably talk to my therapist about my relationship with my dad. Yeah, it's never too late. Probably would have been better if you dealt with that before. Then again, she's been in the public eye for 20 years. Anyway, I hope her kids are doing okay. Maybe he is a great dad. Sorry, stepdad. But I really, if you have children and you are dating, please, for their sake, do not bring men into their life quickly. I have seen so many single women introduce their daughters especially, but their kids in general, to men they've been dating. And then those, I've seen those kids have to mourn the promise of one dad after another. And then they're heartbroken when it doesn't work out. Or a lot of these stepdads are literally preying on children. Like, whatever. Please be careful who you bring into your kids' lives. Because even though she says that her kids had an amazing experience living in the U.S. for 5 years, the amount of damage this man did by treating their mother this way, and by her by her dating a man like this and finding herself in a relationship like this, now her recovery is it's threatened. She was schmooicidal, all kinds of terrible stuff. So please don't take dating men lightly ever, and especially men who are just so excited about being a dad, and especially men who lie on the first date. Like, they lie. But if they're lying right out of the gate, like within the first 5 minutes of a conversation, you're in trouble. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to do anything else on this couple. This is exhausting. There's just so much there, especially with Lily and her past. And I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about her dad too. Like, I only have so much time. I have so many things I want to talk about. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you heard the comments. Please join my Patreon. Also, I'm having a live with Jennifer Esposito next Thursday, November 6th. More about that soon. And my Patreon is where I have all kinds of fun live watch parties. We meet up and hang out on Zoom. I do travel content, personal stories, all kinds of stuff over there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you heard the comments on. Men love to be good dads. Men love to be emotional. They love to be great dads at things like sporting events. Men love to be good dads because they're emotional. They love a lot of things. Mostly the things they love, not the people they make with their DNA. I'm a good dad because I bring my kid to a game that I would have gone to anyway. Men being emotional, good dads, magnanimous. Men being emotional, look how committed they are. Good dads, man, they care a lot about a lot of things except their children. Men being super emotional, men being good dads, they care so much about certain things like soccer games, sorry, football, depending where you're at. And then love being emotional and good dads, and they're passionate, man, so passionate about things like winning team. I'm a good dad.